Guys, I have one question for you. Who's ready to rage? That was a little dramatic, I know. I apologize, guys. You're not actually going to see me freak out in this video or rage or anything like that, because I do a post-com, but, it's not that far off. I'm just coming down, I'm decompressing, and this gameplay is from about 3 days ago. So what you guys are seeing here is my 10-game run of the Ferland Mendy objective to get the 87. We got the 85. You guys saw that in the last video. And now where we're at is just play 10 games. And then after that, I got to play 12 games once I get the 87. So seems simple enough, right? Not that simple. Now, if I was smart, I would have just built a stupid team of nobodies and I would have just let these guys just crush it and then delete them or put them back like a bronze team or whatever. But I am not that guy. I got to do things the hard way. You guys know this. So I actually am playing against all these psychopaths. So I went into these games in Division 4, which is not really Division 4. It is Division 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is all these tryhards, all of these hardcores, and it is just the most unenjoyable experience because Division Rivals is already difficult because you're basically playing yourself in every game, and now you get all these guys that are D-ranking, and you can imagine how much fun this was. So really an awful experience. The one solace that I had was I knew that I could just get away with playing the games. I didn't have to worry about winning. Now, even though my ego wants me to win as many games as possible, I wasn't too worried about it. I started this thinking, all I got to do is play these games. It's going to be easy. Just go in, have some fun. If I win, I win. And then they released the Bruno Fernandes. So now I got to win 5 more games to get this 90 rated Bruno Fernandes, because both of these long objective things, these journeys are both cards that I want. They both fit my team really well. Like Ferland Mendy slots right in. Bruno Fernandes slots right in. I'm a United fan. I got to get him. So if they do another one, like if they did like a Lukaku or something like that, I'm probably not going to do it. If I can get him from just playing, I'll get him, but I'm not too worried about it. Like Zlatan. They just released a Zlatan. I'm not worried about getting Zlatan. Zlatan is, I'm not a huge Zlatan guy. I don't mind him. He's fine. But, if I got that card, it's a 94 rated card, but I'd probably just put it in an SBC, to be honest with you. So, anyway, that first game we played, we drew 0-0. Second game, you're seeing this now. All of these games were just, crazy teams. A lot of them are doing the objectives, too, so they're try hard. A lot of these objectives require, guys to do win conditions with like a cross or a finesse with a certain nationality or something like that. So there are elements of that, but the common theme is just everyone's super try hard. So now this run of games is probably the most stressful for not just the fact that now we've got a win condition we got to do, but just because the games themselves are so sweaty. They're just crazy unenjoyable. And because I've said on multiple occasions, you guys get probably frustrated with hearing it by now, but there is morale in the game, and my team's just getting hurt by it, right? This is the craziest example this entire episode you're going to see, because I didn't take my team offline at all. So normally after like 2 or 3 losses or some draws, I would take my team offline, get their morale back up, but I'm not doing that in this one. I'm just going to play the 10 games straight. You guys are going to see what you see, whether they're good, whether they're bad. You're just going to watch them, and I just want you guys to just watch what happens with the gameplay, right? Watch for yourself. So there are some instances that I'm going to call out, but the things that I really want you to take notice of is when I start taking losses and draws is defensively, the players aren't locking into anything. So when the ball is with my opponents, these guys can shoot through about a crowd of 8 guys. When they're cutting back and forth, my players are just overcompensating one way, overcompensating the other way. And what that's doing is just giving them a little, like a split second extra. It doesn't look like much from a gameplay standpoint, but you really have to keep your eye out for it, because overcompensating can be really harmful. Like this game is just a matter of seconds, split seconds. Like even here, you get that shot away 1 second quicker, the ball's in the back of the net. But because he takes just a heavy enough touch, it's like that when that ball, you guys have all played this, when you play that through ball against the computer, it's just enough weight on it so the keeper comes out and collects it, and your player has to do the jump over the keeper, or they connect with the keeper and they slide and they fall over. That's basically what's happening, kind of in a more slight degree, I guess, from a defensive side. they'll just go like overcompensate one way, and they get back just in time to like put a foot out and miss. Also with like block shots and stuff, as your team starts getting more heavily handicapped, they start doing dumber things. Like they'll do that lift the leg block where they just have their hands down at their side and they lift their leg and the shot will go through their legs, or they'll kind of lean out of the way, or they'll just do they won't block anything. They'll be there, but the ball will seemingly go through them. So that stuff is just crazy to notice. They don't track runs. They're just standing around. And the way to notice this is you can just watch what my opponents are doing. A lot of them, especially as we go on later in this episode, they're going to just hit X pass, and my players are just going to be flying around. Even the ones that are controlled by the computer, they're not staying in possession. They're not reading anything. They're just moving around, right? They're just there. There's a bunch of them there, but the guy will just hit X pass, X pass, X pass, X pass, X pass. So I was going to say X pack. Watching too much WWE, I guess, but like just simple passes, and that's enough to just walk through my team. It's like having a defensive Swiss cheese. They're just literally just passing right through my D. No interceptions, no blocks. It's just really easy. My opponents are just attacking really easy. And you can say whatever you want about me. Say I'm a terrible FIFA player all you want, but like I know where I fit in. I'm not in Division 4 for nothing. Even Div 6 guys know at least enough fundamentally about how to defend that they wouldn't be making these types of things. But the computer mistakes are just so crazy. And then from an offensive side, the passing is going to be what really hurts the most. So two major things. One is the passing. And what happens with the passing, you guys can see they're just missed blocks over and over and over. Balls bouncing to my opponents. Whatever, it's not even that bad yet. Wait till it gets later in the video. But offensively, the passing will be really slow, and it will also kind of lift passes. And there's a lot of times where I don't even do the lofted pass. When I do the lofted pass, it like lobs it, like it really lobs it. And the reason for that is it wants the ball to bounce so that your player has to slow down and not take things on the go. Normally, when your team's not getting handicapped, one lob pass will fall right to his feet. He'll take it in stride. But these balls will be like just lofted enough that it takes like 2 or 3 bounces and your player has to slow down, kind of do one of those jump collects where his leg goes up and he has to collect the ball. And what that's doing is slowing your player down just enough that the defense gets an opportunity to defend or to tackle you. So those types of things. The underhit passes. The through balls in behind are a good example. You're going to see some examples of that happening where I'm trying to play a through ball in behind, but because the pass gets underhit from the handicap, the ball won't get in behind, and the defender will be covering. It'll actually catch up even if you're in front of him, and your player will have to slow down, collect it, turn back, and then play the ball backwards. So now his drop back has time to get back. So that's one of them. And then 2, when your team's getting really badly handicapped, the players run into each other's space. So you're going to see a lot of that in this episode is the players just closing each other's space down. Instead of them finding soft spots on the field and actually creating passing lanes, they're all going to run towards each other, and they're going to narrow the field off. No matter what your tactics are, that's just the game coding. It's going to make sure that your players are running in line. So if you make that pass, your player jets ahead, and they're basically on top of each other, so you don't have any room. So it's countless things. Like that was a really good example right there, that messy pass. Like it was just bouncing enough that he had to run, collect it, and by the time he gets the ball at his feet, and he can actually get that shot away, the keeper's in position, the defender's back, and now the threat's gone. So it's just over and over and over. This game was a really crazy example of that. He was playing that first half. He just essentially walked upfield. You saw him score some really stupid goals. I get it was team of the season, Vardy. But like, look at this type of stuff, right? He's sitting there doing. He's holding on the right stick, and his defender is doing is playing with the ball. I can't even remember what that's. It's not even a skill move, but like I don't even know what you'd call it. Like he was just, playing with the ball in his back line, and then I couldn't tackle it. My players are just literally bouncing off of him. He couldn't even try to lose it if he wanted to. He literally just walked out of defense. He didn't try. He just literally walked out, lobbed it wide, played the ball in behind, and then as you guys saw, that cross, there was no thought put into that cross. He just drove it into the middle of my defense, into the heart of my defense. None of my players reacted to it, and it bounced up. I move my Eder Militao in front of it, and he shoots through my Militao and then through Ter Stegen. So when that type of stuff happens, I just go, okay, what am I supposed to do? So all I did was I changed my tactics when, like, hyper aggressive, ultra attacking, and my team started finally showing some signs of breaking his defense down. Now it leaves you exposed in the back, but I'm finally starting to get some pressure on him offensively. So this guy was not liking this at all. As you guys can see, I'm actually generating some chances here, but like even there, like his defense had 2 chances to block it. I had to work so hard to even create that avenue, and the only reason that shot went in was because it was late, so the 90th minute cheese has started to kick in, right? So the shooting accuracy goes up, his defensive accuracy goes down. But like, look at that, I made the move on him on the inside, had him beat, and his defender still got back in front of me, so I had to cut back to the left. He lunges and I finesse it around him. So thankfully I was able to at least create some offense, but you know, at that point it's too little too late. As you guys can see here, if you go back and watch that one, the ball goes back to Marcus Rashford, or goes back to Aguero. I want to drive it to Rashford and then play a through ball in behind, but that through ball was, or that driven pass was on to Rashford. I make the pass, and his Roberto Carlos runs back and one time volleys it against his body, or against his like momentum, and volleys it back to his keeper perfectly. So when that type of stuff happens, you just go, what are you going to do here, right? So anyway, that was that game. So another loss on the books there. And then we come up against this guy. This guy was probably the most awful human being, at least one of them that I've played against. He probably would have been even more awful if I had my messages on, because he kept pausing it and trying to message me. And you guys will see that here. He actually, starts the game right off with pausing it. And some guys, he like to think they actually make changes, but he didn't make any subs. So all of these guys, they all message. They all go, hey, can you spare a win or whatever? Or like, can you let me win? Come on, please, man, I need a win. And I knew that he was doing this. I've been around the block long enough to know when that happens, and I could just tell because the guy was super try-hard, and he just became super toxic. So he got frustrated by the fact that I turned my messages off, and you can see that he just starts making some really dumb decisions in terms of watching every replay, celebrating like an idiot. He kept pausing it. I'm thinking that he was hoping that I would quit or something along those lines, but he was just a total moron. So it is what it is. That goal, even though my Sergio Ramos just kind of let him walk by, not really a whole lot you can say. It was a nice shot, but quite easy. You know what I mean? Like, which is just the common theme, is like, regardless of how well I defend, my players just give up the ball really easily. No matter what decision I make, no matter how much how patient I am. Like, even there, you see, just very easy for his Neymar to dispossess my Carvajal, and then Carvajal, I read it. Doesn't matter because he doesn't intercept the pass. The guy just one touch, he's in with Neymar, and of course all my players collapse, and coincidentally the ball just bounces right to his Mbappe, who's just standing there in front of an empty net. So has that happened for me? Of course it's happened for me, but is it a coincidence? You be the judge. So I just thought it was ridiculous, that I'm seeing what I'm seeing, but it just gets worse and worse as this goes on. Honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. And I don't want this to sound like whiny. If anything, it's just comedic at this point. But, I just want you guys to see kind of what I was dealing with, and people that want to deny it or be EA apologists, be my guest. But, like, some of the stuff that you see is just crazy. So, again, like the last game, we went ultra attacking, went 4-2-4, and, his team, which is something that I want to address in a second here, we're just covering my players perfectly, but I finally broke him down with one lob because he was trying to read everything, and he pulled his defender forward. He wasn't expecting me to lob there, and then I was through. I knew that if I took this down and tried to round the keeper, he would have just slid tackled and taken me out, and my player would have just fallen over. So I just one-timed it, and thankfully that goes in. But for the rest of this game, I didn't generate any offense, and this is something that I would like your guys' feedback on. Is I don't know if this is a tactic this guy did or what. Clearly this guy's like a higher division player. He knew how to abuse tactics in the game really well, even though it ended up 2-1. I didn't generate much offense after that for one simple reason. Because my team was getting handicapped and their passes were under hit, I wasn't able to like get out of the press very well. But his players were man-marking mine almost perfectly. So every time I got the ball, I would have to wiggle out, and if he didn't read it, and if I was actually able to wiggle out from the defender that was right in my face, and I was able to create a little bit of space, I had no passing options. His players were man marking every single one of mine perfectly, and I don't know what setting that is, but there was no runs on. There was nothing. Every time my guy would make a run, the computer would just shadow him. And it was like that all over. It was like this. It wasn't a team press because the team press drains your team, and his team wasn't getting drained. But I don't know if it's constant pressure or what he's doing, but like it was so hard to get out of. And I faced that in a future episode that you guys are going to see. We've got a lot of gameplay that I've done as we do these Bruno and these Mendy challenges, but like I saw this happen several times, and I just want to know what is causing that, because it's stupid in the sense that the players are just covering literally everyone perfectly, but they're not losing stamina. And I don't understand. Like, I would love to know what it is, because I would like to use it myself, don't get me wrong, but like I don't understand how that's possible. It's not a team press, because team press almost forces the players onto the ball carrier. This was just more the runs were being covered. Every single player on the field had someone on them at all times, and I just couldn't. There was nobody to play the ball to. So anyway, I would love to hear what your guys' feedback is on that. I don't know. I have no idea what was causing it, but it was really bizarre. It was the first time I'd seen it, and then I started seeing it a lot more during the rest of this series as the series goes on. And we're coming up against these high-rated players. A lot of guys are using that, and I can't figure out which tactic it is. But anyway, we do get another loss, of course. So I think we're 0-2-2 at this point or something like that. And then we come up against this guy. He goes up 1-0 with a Suarez. He literally just bolted through, as you guys saw with my Eder Militao. None of my defenders are tracking runs at all. They're just letting guys run in behind them, and they're not initiating any type of coverage until the guy's in an advantageous position. So again, want to say that's a coincidence, be my guest. If you want to say it's poor defending, go ahead. These types of things. Like, I'm reading all of these plays that this guy's having, but like look at the computer. They're just standing there. You know what I mean? Like, they're not getting in the way. They're not blocking shots. They're not intercepting passes. And it's just getting worse and worse. And like, look at how much they're overcompensating, as I said earlier. Like, they're just overrunning everything. It almost feels like you're not in control of your players. Just drag backs. Nobody's stopping anything. Nobody's getting in the way. They're all overrunning. And these guys, it's just easy. It's just easy for these guys, And like I said, you can think that I'm just a poor defender, but I know my place. I'm not in Division 4, like I said, for nothing. I'm in it for a reason. There's a reason that I'm playing in this division. But coming up against some of these better guys, I'm going to take losses. But when I take these losses, my team just falls to the floor so heavily that even if I was playing like a Div 8 guy, I wouldn't be able. They would still be playing the same way. It's not about like the quality of my opponent at this point. It's just the quality of the computer decisions and the players that that I'm using. Like, look at that. I read his Luis Suarez, and it just warps through. Like, Eder Militao is one of those guys that when he gets handicapped, he's badly affected by it, right? So this is another good example. Offensively, I've got a 2-on-1 on. All I want Tony Cruz, who's got like 96, 97 passing, I want him to bend that ball in. Instead, he bends it away somehow. With his right foot, he manages to bend a ball away. So what that's doing is it's forcing Sergio Aguero to have to run away from goal to collect it. And by the time he gets there, if the pass is preloaded, like I wanted just a one-time ball into Aguero, and then Aguero one-time little lob over top. But because the ball's going away, two things happen. One, it causes him to have to run away from the ball and make an off-balance pass. And then two, because I'm running away from the ball, it gives more time for the guy to read what I'm doing, stop, and then run back and cover the run. So that type of stuff was just happening all over the place. Like, even this sequence, right? Like a header down there, I wanted that to Renato Sanchez. Instead, it locks onto my Messi, who's further away. The Renato Sanchez just kind of moves out of the way. Messi's got to come from further away. And I've got nothing on there, right? Again, heavy touch there from Dybala. Next thing you know, this guy's away. Really easy for him to make that pass. My Mendy bites. I think I manually bit him there. But I know where he's going to come back. But instead, my players are just overcompensating so hard that he gets a shot away, right? So it just feels like I'm not in control. It's not a lag issue. There's a game later where I did feel lag, and I know what lag feels like. I've had it in the past, but I very rarely get lag. Now, that's my mistake. I probably shouldn't have played that ball. Even if I thought that was the right pass to make, I knew that my team was playing so poorly that he's not going to make the pass. He didn't do what I intended him to do. Why the hell would I ever want to play it to Perisic there? But, at this point, it's not even really that deep. I can't make these passes. But, like, look, I think I have Kevin De Bruyne on, I don't know, he didn't really have necessarily a step, but he had a good position. But it's just so easy. It's just easy for this guy to get out of the back. One little pass here, lob. I'm in an advantageous position. The guy comes from behind Militao. Militao runs wide, takes a bad positioning on him, runs back, and the guy just literally sprints through. And it's just easy. It's just easy. You know what I mean? Like, his Suarez was behind my team of the season, like my moments Militao. This is a 90 rated defender. But he just gets hurt so badly by the handicap. Sergio Ramos does to a certain extent, but he's more just like from aggressive standpoint, he tends to give away more penalties, but he's still pretty solid. But Eder Militao, man, like for his body position or for his body size, he just becomes really weak, really fragile, and terrible defensively. Like his AI just falls to the floor. But anyway, that it is what it is. So we come up against this guy, and like I want you guys to take a notice of that team. This guy was using gold Luis Vazquez and gold João Felix, right? And I think he had another gold in there. He even had gold like Conte, who's still a decent card. He's still an 89 rated card, but just crazy stuff. Like, look at these passes, man. So I'm going to pause it here. What I want here is I just want a driven pass to Toni Kroos, and then I want a one-time through ball into all of this space. Look at all the space that Rashford has. Look at how under-hit these passes are. And that's not my fault. That's not like the power that I'm putting on it. That was a driven pass to Toni Kroos. I want him to one-time hammer that up. But all it's doing is under-hitting passes so that my players have to slow their run down. And if they don't overrun it, and if they are able to get back in time, they get back so the defender's got more time to actually like get his players in position. And then I want another ball in behind the defenders so that Mendy can run onto that. Instead, it like lobs it and it starts to bend back. So my Mendy has to run wide to collect it, bring the ball down, and now all his defense is back for his drop back. Like, it's just over and over and over. Like, this is just crazy. And this guy's team isn't even any good. Like, look at that. That ball, that was just a normal through ball. And what it did was underpower it and bounce the through ball so that my Kevin De Bruyne had to slow down, play the ball back. Again, another one. Makes a terrible pass, but do I make him pay? No, because Aguero takes a heavy touch and it goes right back to the defender. But like, look at this guy. Look at how easy it is for him to just make these passes. None of my defenders are reading anything. I'm having to change players to like just pull them back into position. He's literally just hitting X pass. And he's shooting through crowds. There's no blocks. There's no interceptions. Like, it was just easy for this guy. It didn't matter if he was using bronze players. My team is so dumbed down at this point that even here, like, I had created space, but like a lot of people would look at that and be like, well, you shouldn't have taken that shot. It was too far out. One, the shot was lobbed. It kind of like, that was just a finesse shot. Like, I tried to finesse it around the keeper, but if you watch, the arc of the shot was dropping so that Mandanda could make the save. But two, if I would have taken that ball on and tried to take the defenders on, you could see the amount of ground they were covering. And then on top of it, I knew that if I would have got even close to a defender at that point, he would have just stolen the ball from Aguero. Like, I had half a second to make that decision. I had to hit shoot, because if I didn't hit shoot, he would have just walked in and taken it from me. So like, this game was the peak of my frustration because I couldn't do anything. And I know that this happens. I was watching Zweibach's stream last night, and he went on a 6-game losing streak, and I watched his team have these same issues. And I got so frustrated because, I've never met the guy. I don't know anything about him, but like, you could tell that he was frustrated and he thought it was his fault. He goes, you know what? I don't deserve these wins. I'm playing terrible. And I was thinking, man, you're not playing terrible. It doesn't matter how well you were playing. Your team was getting screwed. Like, look at that, man. Sergio Ramos there. And I want you guys to watch the ball he plays here. Literally just plays it right into the heart of my defense. None of my guys react. None of them try to intercept it. None of them steal the ball. It lands perfectly to the feet of Son, and Son just from a standing position hammers it into the top corner. Like, watch these goals. This guy just started rattling goals off with his like gold players and stuff like that. These are just flying in. It didn't matter if he had 10 guys that he had to beat. Like, my defense is just standing there like a bunch of pylons. Didn't matter if I was reading them. He's just walking through challenges. My guys are lunging, slide tackling. They're not blocking anything. Like, look at how underhit my passes are. And his one guy is covering them all. Now, thankfully, I'm probably evil, but I was able to get a goal there with Lionel Messi. But the passes are so under hit and they're so weak that his defender was tracking both of them. Now this one I paused because I want you guys to see how much space I have here. All I want to do is make a pass from Sergio Ramos to Toni Kroos. Go back and watch that again. Sergio Ramos to Toni Kroos. His Heung-min Son, who's totally out of the play, ran back and intercepted that pass. Now, I have never seen a human being, Usain Bolt, anybody, be faster than this, ever in my life. And his Heung-min Son ran down a pass from the corner. He got from the corner. I had so much time. All I needed to do was Sergio Ramos collect it, pass it. Instead, I one-time pass it. Very simple. He's got like very high passing, like high 90s passing. Sergio Ramos, he's one of the best passing center backs in the game. And I have an engine card on him, and he still underhits the pass. Heung-min Son steals it. They still collapse on him, but of course they all are just a foot behind, a step behind. All three of them converge on him, but they just leave this perfect passing lane for him to bend it around the defenders. And then look at this, like just a lob. You know what I mean? Like my defenders are going wide on him. They're not bodying him. They're not even causing him any trouble. 5 goals this guy put past me, and all of them were just easy. Like these weren't goals that a guy who's a really good player was, doing all these skill moves and evading my defense. He was just like lobbing and through balling, and none of my defenders are reading any of this. And then when I saw this happen, I was just like, I leaned back like this on that free kick because I had the free kick. I had it perfectly in the corner, and then when I started powering it, it goes like this, and it moves it to out of the net. So you want to believe there's no handicap in it, be my guest, but like, I just want you to watch any of those clips back, and please explain any of that to me. Like, no offense to that guy, man, but he was not the best player that I even played in this video, and he just walked up the field. His João Felix, his Lucas Vazquez, they were just bodying my guys. Like, it was incredible. And I know I come across like I'm a whiny baby here, Gerber baby, but like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just craziness, what I'm seeing. And it's just getting worse. It's getting worse as these games go on. So this one was a crazy one. So this is the one that I was talking about earlier where I actually felt lag. Now, I'm not using that as an excuse for any wins or losses or anything, but I know what lag feels like. I don't get lag a whole lot. This is the first time I felt lag. And the reason that I'm saying that, I guess, is like proof that is that I don't really slide tackle. I don't do too many, like, unless I know that I'm going to, get away with the tackle. But I got so many cards in this because the button delay in this. So my first red there was just like I went into slide tackle, but there was such a delay in it. My player goes shooting in. Probably my fault for even making that, that button press. But they're so far behind that you're going to see me get, I think, 3 yellows and 2 reds in one game. I don't even remember the last time I had 1 red. 3 yellows and 2 reds in one game. So it was just over and over and over. But the funny thing is, I've said before that when you get a red card, I feel like the game actually gives you an advantage, in the DDA. And, pardon me. And I just feel like the gameplay just goes in your favor. So I ended up scoring 2 goals that were very half chances. His team just like couldn't stop them. Like there wasn't a whole lot of skill to them. I don't want to say there was no skill, but I basically just hit pass and hit shoot, and the ball's rocketing into the net. Now, that wasn't happening before the red card, but both of them just coincidentally started to happen after I got the red card. So I ended up scoring that, and I knew at this point I had to get a third, because if I don't get a third goal, this guy's going to score, and he's going to come right back into the game. Like, look at that, right? Like, this guy stole the ball from me, a stupid play from me to not get rid of it. I think there was a delay there. I was trying to pass the ball out. Messi doesn't pass it out. He gets the ball stolen. The guy's right in front of the net. No one in front of him, shoots it, bangs off the post, goes straight to my guy. Now, the stuff that I've been complaining about in the last game. So now I've got the DDA in my favor because I got a red card, as stupid as that sounds. But, like, look at that. There's so much delay in this. Like, these button presses, you're going to see this so much more in the rest of this game. Like, just watch my players. Like, anytime I'm off the ball, you're going to see them lunge and make these crazy tackles. Like, I consider myself a really good defender, probably better defender than I am attacker. I'm quite good at reading the play. But my players were just lunging like crazy. Like, this guy can't even get out of the back, and I'm just like desperately trying to score here. I'm just so desperate to score a goal because I need that third goal. But as soon as he walks up the field, this happens. And I don't even know what to say to this one. Swear on my life, I didn't press anything because I knew there was a delay. I didn't want to hit I didn't want to hit slide tackle. But my Eder Militao, literally, I was just running up to him. And I don't know if the computer did a body or if the player just fell, because I didn't press anything. Literally was just running next to him. And I thought, my guy's strong enough, he'll dispossess him. But the computer just knocks the guy to the ground and he gets a penalty. So as soon as that penalty happened, I could just feel the swing in game. And now this guy is just rolling, right? Like now he's got the momentum. You can see Messi with the yellow card there. You know, I'm just taking foul after foul. But like this guy is just passing it. Like, again, my team turns into Swiss cheese. He's just hitting normal passes. He's not doing anything intelligent. He's just getting the ball one touch and just hitting shoot. Because my guys are not blocking anything anymore. He's just having a field day. And I'm trying to get one last chance here. When that happened, I just go, okay, I have no chance. Like, if this guy, I just have to hope that I can get a draw. Because I had Aguero through on a finesse play. Again, you can see there the button delay causes another foul. I get another yellow. Just yellow after yellow, red after red, and it was just crazy. I don't know what was going on with the lag there, but it was just something that I couldn't stop. But yeah, when I had that opportunity through with Aguero, he was through. There was no one in front of him. I play the through ball in behind, and it hits him in the back. When it hits the guy in the back, there's nothing there. It's like a ragdoll effect. It's like the player just doesn't lock on. And then the guy does this. Like I said, no offense to this guy, but he wasn't a good player. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't a whole lot of skill. Dumb on my part. I tried to block. I thought he was going to shoot. But I even moved Eder Militao in the way. And instead of blocking the shot, he turns and directs the ball past my keeper. So, you know, I know there's a mouthful there, but, you know, say whatever you want with it. Like, this game was just swinging back and forth. You know, my fault for not putting this guy away. He was ripe for the taking. I should have done better with one of my chances. I didn't have any real crazy, like, you know, clear-cut chances, but I had enough that I could have taken advantage of at least one of them. And, you know, like I said, when a guy gets that second goal, the DDA just swings back in his favor. And when he got that second one, it was only a matter of time before he got the third, and that's exactly what happened, right? So, you know, say whatever you want, say that there's no momentum in the game, but that game is the exact definition of momentum, right? Like, I know it sounds crazy what I'm saying, but look, it's in the game. DDA's in the game. If you don't believe in handicap, that's fine, but you cannot deny that there's dynamic difficulty, right? Like, it is just so prevalent. You know, the game is either for you or against you, and that's been the craziest thing with this. It's like this whole year has felt so one-sided, either for you or against you in basically every game. Like, there's so few games where it's just 50-50. Like, even look at that. I don't know what is going on there, but the guy just ran past, like, he just literally passed past two defenders and just sprinted by them. I want the ball here to Messi. Instead, it locks onto Aguero. Like, the team is just so unplayable at this point that, like, I don't even know what to say, right? But funny thing with this exact game here was, even though my team felt like crap, his team felt maybe worse. So I know how that sounds. I get it. It sounds crazy. But look, based on my theory, you lose games in a row, your team falls to the floor. Now, what happens if your opponent's team is in the same situation? He's lost a bunch in a row. Both teams are broken. It's just whichever team is less broken, or whichever guy can take advantage of the fact that he's playing against his opponent. Like, look at this. Okay, warps past my guy, but look at his Benzema. That wasn't even, like, look at how hard that guy had to work to score that goal. Like, his Benzema wasn't taking clean touches. He took two heavy touches, and then he just smashes it, and my defender takes him out, and his player ragdolls, right? And I've said before, when your players start ragdolling, that's when you know that the game engine is basically broken from a DDA standpoint, right? So this was just two bad teams playing against each other. That's why this clip is so short, because there was no chances. Like, it was just giveaway after giveaway after giveaway after giveaway. So much midfield play. And then I just got an opportunity that I took advantage of. And when I scored that second goal, I knew this guy had no chance. So here, I actually tried to slide tackle the guy, but instead my De Bruyne bodies him and lobs it back. And I'm like, well, at least the game's over. Nope, wrong. So he actually ends up getting one last chance. Thank God he ends up screwing it up, because his team was so broken that he couldn't take advantage of it, because I wasn't paying attention. I thought the game was over. it was just one of those games where he kept giving it away, I kept giving it away, and it was just back and forth. And like, thankfully, again, I got, fortunate enough that I was able to take advantage of it, but he just couldn't do anything, and I was able to get the 2-1 win there. I will take it, okay? Don't get me wrong. I am not above that. I will take these wins because I need I need all the help I can get, because there's so many just like toxic pieces of crap in Division 4. Like, it's the most unfun FIFA it's the least amount of fun. Yeah, that makes more sense, right? So it's the least amount of fun I've ever had playing FIFA. So anyway, we finally get our first win. So at least we have our first win towards Bruno. So we come up against this guy. Again, like, look at the touches that his players are taking. They're taking things from behind them in stride. I get that. It's Eusebio. But look at this touch. Whoop! Scoops it in forward. This game was giving him so many chances, but like, with all due respect to this guy, I'm sorry if he ever sees it, but he wasn't the world's greatest player. Like, he should have taken advantage of these. He ends up getting 1 goal, but like, look at this. Like, 4 guys, he shoots through 4 guys and it just flies into off the post and in. Like, he should have probably scored 3 because my team was playing so poorly. They were so broken at this point, even after the win. Like, look at that, just bouncing off. I know that he's going to cut back again. Thank God I rushed my keeper out here with Ter Stegen, because he would have just hammered that into an empty net. But like, I'm having to do all these like crazy things. Like, it was just so much work to just stay in this game. I get a half chance there with De Bruyne. De Bruyne is another card. When I brought that card in at 96, I don't know if it's because my team is so highly rated that they're getting slowed down, or if it's just because of the team handicap with morale. But like, he is really getting affected too. Like, I've tried using him offline against the computer when he's playing well, after this, because I didn't get a chance to play with him against the computer during this run, because I didn't play them against the computer. But when I finally took him offline, he is such an amazing card. But man, was he getting dumbed down too. Like, he was really getting hurt. He was just felt so slow and so weak. And he's a 96 rated card. He is a really good card when he's playing on. But when he's getting handicapped, he's like Militao. He just becomes totally useless. Anyway, so what happens was, in this game, I'm down 1-0. All I did was I just changed my tactics. I changed my formation, went ultra aggressive, very attacking, and I knew, based on the first half, that the fact that this guy had so many chances and he wasn't able to take advantage of them, that I knew that I could steal a win here. Even against the handicap, I knew that my team could pull out a win here. He ends up fouling me, gives me that free kick, and you don't want to give Messi that free kick, because even in the last game, you guys saw, I've got those free kicks kind of down. I know how much power exactly to put on it. The last one, though, just warped out of the net for some reason. But that one, thankfully, stayed in the net. And then the ball bounces down here. Messi gets a lucky bounce back, and then I'm able to fire it into the net. So we're up 2-1. And then all I have to do is just make sure this guy doesn't score. But you guys can see, like, he's not the world's greatest player. He's taking these shots. Like, all he had to do was, like, run it in. He could have probably had another goal there. Instead, he is, like, doing something crazy, like taking these stupid shots. I don't know if he was trying to score finesse from too far out or what he was doing. But, I knew I had one more goal in me, and then this game was over. And thankfully, I get a lucky bouncer off his defender. The high pressure, high attacking was what turned the team around. Like, they were playing like absolute crap, but because the tactics are so, like, they're so overpowered in a negative way this year. Like, I hate that, but that's exactly what happens. Your team just swings the momentum in your favor, and that's exactly what happened in this game. Like, this guy, he had all the momentum in the first half. He wasn't able to take advantage of it, so I abused the custom tactics, and it swung the game in my favor, and I was able to get some lucky bounces and pull out the win. So thankfully, there are some guys that are, beatable. Again, not that guy's the worst player in the world, but like some of these other guys, when they counteract your high pressure or high attack with, the man-to-man marking, there's nothing you can really do. Like, you can't stop it. Like, these guys, some of these guys just know how to abuse the tactics so well that there's nothing you can do. Anyway, we do have 2 wins. This is the final game. When I saw this team come up, I was wondering what was going on. I was thinking, like, is he going to pull those bronzes out and like put in 3 icons? Like, I'm very leery when I see these types of teams come into a game. Is he trying to abuse the team rating and keep his rating low, and then he's just going to surprise me with team of the seasons? But when he stopped playing here, I was just like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to rush. And then when I saw that he was starting to draw players out, I was thinking, oh my God, we came up against a guy who's going to give me a win. I haven't had any of these. Now, this guy just wanted the game. He clearly was just trying to rack up the games for his Bruno and his Kevin De Bruyne, but you know, I will take it. So I left in the entire, sorry, my computer screen froze there, but when I saw him pulling his keeper out of position there, and when I noticed that he was just drawing his defenders out, I'm going to take advantage of that. You know, I will take the free win. This guy was a godsend. I just sat there with my Messi and my, you know, my Marcus Rashford, just practicing my skill moves, but I just needed the free win. I will take it because, believe me, this has been the most frustrated I've probably been in a really long time playing FIFA, just because, you know, even though I didn't need wins, like, now that I have to get 5 more with Bruno Fernandes, it's changed the dynamic. Now I have to try to win these games. It's not fun. And even when I'm just trying to, you know, just get games over with, there ends up being part of me that's just like, you know, maybe I'll just play kind of haphazardly, and maybe this guy will just try to play for fun. And then when you see the guys just being try hard and sweaty, there's something about my demeanor that just changes, and I just go, you know what? This guy's running around shushing me when I'm not trying. Like, no, he's in for it now. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. We do have a lot of gameplay still left. We do get the 87 Mendy. This card is amazing, but I want that 89. It's got the 5-star, and we are going to try to go for the Bruno. So that is all ahead. We've got a lot of gameplay. I'm going to try to rattle those off during the next couple days, so you guys are going to expect, or you guys can expect a lot of videos from me. But until next time, guys, I appreciate you staying this far through the video, and thank you for watching. Take care. Peace.